everybody. Welcome to the Jodie Emery Show. Today is Thursday, September 22nd, and I got something really neat to share with you from Marc. It came in the mail. This is his graduation tassel, 2011, the year 2011, for getting his grade 12 and graduating in YAZOO medium security prison. And this is a little booklet about the ceremony with everybody's names inside. And Marc is right down under Emery there. And he was also the valedictorian. He got top marks in the entire prison. And here is his grade 12 certificate with a gold seal and everything. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I am proud of him. I think it's really neat. So good for Marc. We're all really happy for him, and he's doing fairly well these days. He's kept busy with his music. His new band YAZOO is now official, which means he got enough people together to make it a band to perform all the instruments, and it's named YAZOO, and they have practice time in the studio with the guitars and everything. So Marc is the official leader of the band. He says it's unbelievable. He can't believe he's the leader of a band, and he's playing bass guitar. They're doing Hotel California in English and Spanish, the Gypsy Kings version, and Comfortably Numb, and a lot of other good old classic rock, and he's really enjoying that. So send him a letter and let him know how you're doing and what you think of what he's been up to. I mean, finishing grade 12, learning an instrument when he's never played before, and keeping busy and inspiring others as well while he's in there. So send him a note. The address, of course, is always at freemarc.ca, along with the guidelines of what you can send, and let him know what you're doing to end prohibition, because that's what he really likes to hear about best. And on that note, we have dark days have begun here in Canada. Stephen Harper's Conservative government introduced on Tuesday the bill to bring in mandatory minimum sentences. This is an omnibus crime bill, which means they're putting together 9 different pieces of legislation about sex offenses, drug offenses, youth offenders, various other things. They've brought together in this bill called Bill C-10. This is an omnibus crime bill that will bring in mandatory minimum prison sentences for marijuana. So if you grow 6 plants, you're going to get 6 months automatically. And those numbers start to go really high with all sorts of other factors involved. And that's just the beginning. There's a lot of news about this at cannabisculture.com and on Facebook, of course. If you're on there and active, you'll see a lot of things posted. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see I've been non-stop sharing news stories about this so everybody knows what's going on. It's really going to be difficult to stop this, because in Canada on May 2nd we've elected a Conservative majority government. Now, they didn't get a majority of votes, but because we have a number of different political parties, they got enough to get majority power, which means they can pass anything they want, any bills they want, with no way for the opposition to stop it. They control the Senate and the House of Parliament. They control the committees, and they control the media and a lot of other things too. So this is really going to be very challenging, because there's not much that can be done to stop it. And that, of course, is making a lot of people feel very panicky and afraid. However, there is a way that we can stop it, and that's to get the public on our side. The government still needs the confidence of the people. Even though Stephen Harper has total power, they can't really get away with upsetting everybody in Canada. I mean, especially with all the revolts happening around the world and the economy going the way it is, and all sorts of outside pressures. The government can't really afford to infuriate and piss off and rip off Canadians. I mean, they probably will do a lot of that still, and they don't really care so much about facts and statistics and public opinion. But if there's enough pressure from the public about the expense of this bill and how it will actually create crime, and the U.S. example has proven all the ways that this has failed, and the Justice Department of Canada even found that mandatory minimums don't work, but they're still bringing them in because of big money, big police budgets, big prison growth, a lot of money to be made in the drug war, as we've seen down in the United States. And that's the only reason this government is out to do this. They know that it means huge money for them and their buddies at the expense of taxpayers. But taxpayers and the media, a lot of people in the media know that this isn't the right way to go. And if we can just organize enough and be heard loud enough, we can at least get enough questions asked to make sure the government exposes themselves as the corrupt, immoral thieves that they are. And maybe at least we can try and prevent it or slow it, or at least oppose it as much as we can. It's the only option we really have. How can we sit back and do nothing? And on that note, I often ask people, and many others ask others, to take action and to really do things to change these laws. And there's 3 ways I would most advise that you can do that are simple. The first is to call or email your member of parliament. It's very easy to find the way to contact them. Just Google Canada MP and the website will let you put in your postal code, and it's very easy to find. Just get in touch with them and let them know that they have to do their best to oppose this bill. In fact, the Liberal Party, which was the opposition party under Harper's minority government, is now saying that the drug war is a failure and these laws are a very bad mistake. And they're coming out stronger than even the NDP, who is now the official opposition and who used to be really our champion on this issue. But now the Liberals, who have advocated decriminalization and other progressive ideas before, are coming back and admitting that prohibition is a failure, it cannot be afforded, and the government is wrong to bring in these laws and to put peaceful, nonviolent cannabis growers and users in jail. So we have an ally in the Liberal Party now who are desperate to come back into power. They were pretty much decimated in the election, which was a shock. The Conservatives and Liberals have been the 2 major parties forever. The NDP is now a brand new opposition, but the leader, Jack Layton, of course, passed away from cancer. So the NDP is struggling a bit right now, but the Liberals could be on our side. So it doesn't matter which party your member of parliament is with, Conservative, Liberal, NDP, let them know that you oppose this bill and that it is wrong and immoral and expensive to bring it in. And the second thing that you could do is write a letter, maybe the same sort of message, to your local newspapers. You know, newspapers print a lot of different opinions, and most people who read the newspaper definitely pay a lot of attention to the letters, because humans want to know what other people are thinking. And the more that we get our message represented in these newspapers and in the public opinion spaces, the more that other people will come around and agree, because they won't feel alone in questioning prohibition. You know, they'll start to have the facts that you present so they can argue for ending prohibition too. So I wrote a letter to the province newspaper. They were asking for people's opinion on this new tough on crime legislation. And instead of just telling you that you should do this, I'm going to show you mine and read it. I kept it to 75 letters or 75 words, because that's what this particular question was asking for. When asked for proof mandatory minimums will reduce crime, the Conservatives have nothing. When asked what it will cost Canadians, they refuse to provide information. Mandatory minimum sentences for marijuana will cost a fortune when we can least afford it and have absolutely no impact on crime. Bankrupt American states are reversing these same drug laws because the prisons are packed and the crime rate is unchanged. Canada shouldn't make the same mistakes. So that's just 75 words and trying to get to the meat of the issue. And there's all sorts of different topics you can address about medical marijuana, about many different issues, not just the cost of it, but just the human rights issue that's in the middle of this. And I encourage you to go to websites like Why Prohibition provides, I believe, a list of the media you can get in touch with, but there are other sources. And of course, cannabisculture.com, your #1 source on the internet for marijuana news, will have plenty of coverage on this issue, and will be giving you the ways to get involved and make it really easy so you can step up. Now, the third thing, besides contacting your member of parliament, sending a letter to the newspapers or radio stations, call them up. They like to hear from the public too. The third thing to do that's really simple, but most people just get a little lazy, we admit it, and don't really want to spend the time, but take a sign and stand out by the traffic. Hold up a sign with a short message, like "No prison for pot," or "End prohibition," or any sort of message. Harper's laws hurt harmless people. You know, there's a lot of different quotes and slogans you can think of. Just even legalize it. Get that out there. Get people talking. And stand outside for just an hour. That's the least you can afford. Maybe half an hour on your lunch break, if really that is all you have. But you can really get the message into people's minds. And when you see somebody standing out on the street with a sign, you know that they're committed and that they really, really care about what they're holding a sign about. And that makes you feel more interested in wondering what that issue is about and why would someone care so deeply. If Canadians saw different people all across their cities holding up signs or hanging banners on overpasses, asking questions, asking why prohibition, drug laws don't work, any of these sort of things, you know, C10 creates crime. Any of these slogans, if you get it out there, more people will see it and start to believe it and start to look into it. And that's really going to help us out. Public opinion is the only way to win this war, and we're seeing it in the United States. Our amazing activist cousins down across the border are having a lot of impact on the laws down there. Some for good, some for better, but it's far much more progressive than Canada at this time. And so keep it up, our fellow Americans. You're setting the example. We can point to you and say that you know the drug laws have failed and Canada shouldn't follow that path. And so I really encourage you to keep up the good work. And Canadians, don't bash Americans. We're in this together. It's our governments who are in league against us, the people, and our culture. So never forget that the people are on our side. It's the government that isn't. And I want to change the topic here to some more positive news. Here at Cannabis Culture Headquarters, we want to promote healthy living with marijuana. And in the news lately, in fact today, guidelines have been released in Canada recommending harm reduction measures for marijuana, basically saying the drug laws don't stop marijuana use, so here are some ways to use it safely. And they say 16 and up you should be able to use it. They recommend don't using it daily, but of course medical marijuana users and others might find it works for them that way. And there's a few different things, like saying vaporization is a great way to do it in a healthy type of ingestion. So here at Cannabis Culture Headquarters, we sell, of course, all sorts of vaporizers and Volcano vaporizers. Volcano is the top of the line, German engineered. It's always been #1 in the market, and they used to run $800. I mean, these are pretty impressive pieces. But now we here at Cannabis Culture Headquarters have reduced our price for the classic Volcano to $525. That's $100 cheaper than our previous price. And the digital is $675, and that's $75 lower than the original we had it at. And we want to be able to promote medicinal use and therapeutic use and healthy use. So if you're interested and you've been saving up, check out the Cannabis Culture online store at cannabisculture.com/store, or come down here to 307 West Hastings. And right now, for the month of September, you can get 10% off your order online by using the code CCSchool. So not only are you getting the savings on the Volcano that we're offering to everybody, but if you order online, you'll save a little extra too. And hopefully you'll help support Cannabis Culture Headquarters, because you know, Marc, when he started, there weren't head shops across Canada, and he helped open and supply head shops all across this country and gave them the books and magazines and pipes and bongs and everything that nobody else could get anymore. Marc helped make that happen in Canada. He spread the culture. He's done and paid his dues. So if you feel you want to spend money on something for indulging in your favorite plant, remember that when you spend it here, you're giving back to Marc, who helped make all of this possible across Canada, and you're helping us keep the message here alive at Cannabis Culture Headquarters. Because we're not going to quit. We're going to keep fighting no matter what this government throws at us. I'm not going to stop. I mean, freedom is never going to be out of style, so I'm going to keep fighting for it, for me, for Marc, for everybody else. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Stay up to date at twitter.com/Jodie Emery and facebook.com/Jodie Emery, facebook.com/Marc Emery, and all the other addresses down below in the info bar below this video. Thanks a lot, everybody. Free Marc Emery.